Well, good evening, America. This is Johnny Freedom on the Stars and Stripes Report, where the static crackles with truth and the coffee's always fresh. Today, we've got ourselves a humdinger of a headline about a modern fella named Elon Musk. Some call him the Rocket Man. Others see him as the great disruptor. But lately, folks have been calling attention to a stickier side of his operations, allegations of racism, and hate speech running wild like a tumbleweed on a windy Texas plain. Now, Mr. Musk's claim to fame is technology. Electric cars at Tesla, rocket ships at SpaceX, and that their Twitter outfit he bought not so long ago, now renamed X. Trouble is, ever since he grabbed hold of the reins at Twitter, hate speech and slurs of all kinds seem to have soared higher than an Atlas rocket. The folks who used to keep a lid on nasty talk got the boot or skedaddled out the door, leaving the content moderation barn door wide open. Whoosh. In came the varmints. Tweets laced with racial ugliness, anti-Semitism, and just about every vile phrase you can imagine. But that's only part of the story, friends. Over at Tesla, there have been lawsuits and federal investigations piling up like yesterday's newspapers. Employees have blown the whistle on racist graffiti, nooses, and nasty slurs around the old assembly lines. Some even saw them fancy swastikas scratched on walls. Ain't that a bucket of bad news? Certain employees sued, and the courts have handed out hefty payouts like candy at a county fair. Meanwhile, the folks in Uncle Sam's agencies, like the EOC, have been sniffing round for signs of discrimination. But what does our man Musk say? Well, he's a champion of that free speech notion. Claims any meddling in folks' talk is more trouble than it's worth. Problem is, drop-in moderation has let hate speech blossom like weeds in a spring rain. Some big advertisers said thanks, but no thanks, and took their business elsewhere. And investors, they're scrunching their faces in concern, worried Tesla's reputation might go down faster than a lead balloon. As for company culture, if you believe the chatter, it's as if serious issues keep getting tossed aside for snappy one-liners on social media. We've seen public polls used to handle employee matters instead of good old-fashioned boardroom decisions. Sure is a curious way to run a railroad if you ask me. Now, what's the fix? Some fancy experts say the fella ought to bring in external oversight, put a proper crisis communications plan in place, and stop relying on tweets to solve bigotry problems. A dash of diversity training wouldn't hurt, either. The idea is to keep that free speech spirit alive without letting hateful speech roam free as a rabid dog. And that's the skinny from your pal Johnny Freedom. Stick around for more shortwave standouts here on the Stars and Stripes Report, where we keep our eyes peeled on the comings and goings of the modern world, so you don't have to. Until next time, America, this is Johnny Freedom signing off. Keep your dial tuned right here, and never forget knowledge is power, and courtesy never goes out of style.